Welcome to the Deep Dive. So today, we're tackling something I think is really fascinating. What do those super successful people, the high performers, actually do when they're not in the spotlight between those big wins? Our sources are pretty clear. It's definitely not about just kicking back and coasting.
No, not at all. It's really about doubling down, isn't it? Actively fueling that momentum for whatever's coming next.
Exactly. Fueling momentum.
Yeah, this isn't just about getting that first taste of success. It's more about building the underlying structure for sustained achievement.
Okay.
Moving beyond those initial breakthroughs and, constantly finding ways to level up. So this deep dive, it's really focused on uncovering those crucial, often quiet habits that build real, lasting momentum, where theory really meets momentum, you could say.
Right. And our mission here for you listening is to give you a genuine shortcut. We spent a lot of time digging through habits 34 to 66. From Nigel Cumberland's, it's an iconic book, 100 Things Successful People Do.
Great book.
Yeah. And we've pulled out what we think are the most powerful, actionable insights. We want to get past the surface level stuff and really understand how these high performers actively shape their mindset, build those, powerful relationships, and strategically grow their wealth.
And what's really striking about this particular set of habits, I think, is how they all connect. They sort of interlock.
Oh, okay.
It's not just like a random checklist. It feels more like a holistic blueprint for really thriving. Each habit supports the others, creating this robust framework for continuous growth.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Let's jump right into some of these really profound insights. We're going to explore maybe a handful of habits that feel absolutely fundamental, starting with how successful people build that really solid internal foundation.
Right.
Then we'll maybe shift gears a bit, look at their strategic approach to vision and growth, and finally touch on that critical piece, emotional mastery. The idea is you'll walk away with a much clearer picture of what it actually takes to consistently operate at your absolute best.
Yeah, it's really about crafting a personal operating system. One that doesn't just, react when things go wrong, but actually anticipates challenges and helps you navigate them with resilience. These habits, they aren't just nice to haves.
Right.
For anyone serious about success long term, they feel more like non-negotiables.
Okay, non-negotiables. I like that. So let's kick off with one that seems to underpin, pretty much everything else. Habit 34, practice self-care. Now, Nigel isn't positioning this as a luxury.
No.
He's saying it's a strategic imperative. We all hear that phrase, you can't pour from an empty cup. But what does that really look like for a high performer?
Well, the key insight here, I think, is that self-care isn't about being selfish. It's actually about stewardship. Stewardship of your most vital asset, which is your physical and mental capacity.
Stewardship. Okay.
Yeah. So many people wear burnout almost like a badge of honor, pushing through. But for genuine high performers, neglecting self-care, that's seen as a major performance liability.
Right. It holds you back.
Absolutely. It directly impacts your thinking, your decision-making, even your creativity. So think of it less like a reward and more like preventative maintenance. It's the bedrock, really, that lets you show up consistently at your best day after day.
Preventative maintenance for peak performance. Makes
Yeah.
sense. And building on that internal strength, Nigel pushes us towards habit 35. Review your life regularly. Now, this isn't just like your annual work review.
No, much more frequent.
Yeah, he describes it as a much more active, agile process.
Yeah.
What's the real value in doing that consistently?
This one's all about active self-correction and intentional evolution. I mean, if you're not pausing regularly to look at what's working, what's not working, and frankly, where you're actually headed, you're basically flying blind.
Okay.
High performers use this kind of review as a learning loop. They extract lessons, from the wins and the losses, and then they consciously tweak their direction. It allows for this continuous optimization, preventing, small drifts from becoming massive detours off course.
Yeah, catching it early, course correcting before you're way off track. That makes a ton of sense. Now, tied into that inner foundation and self-awareness is habit 36. Be authentic. We hear this word authentic thrown around a lot.
All the time.
But Nigel really highlights the very real cost of being inauthentic for successful people. What's the specific angle here?
Right. So authenticity in this context isn't just about being yourself in a vague way. It's about building a path forward that's actually sustainable and resilient for you.
Okay.
Think about the sheer energy it takes to constantly maintain a facade, a persona that isn't genuinely you. It's incredibly draining. It leads to burnout, sure, but it also it erodes trust with the people around you.
Ah, right. Trust.
Yeah, and it can even limit the opportunities that come your way because
Yeah.
they might not align with who you truly are. So high performers get that their real power comes from operating with integrity, where their words, their actions, they line up with their core self. It actually simplifies things like decision making, and it tends to attract the right kind of collaborators and chances.
So being authentic, it's like it builds that solid core, that trust in yourself.
Yeah.
And that integrity, maybe that unlocks the capacity for something really strategic like Habit 37. Think long term.
In a world that seems obsessed with, quick wins, why is this long view so critical for high achievers?
Well, that short-term focus, it's often driven by, the need for immediate gratification. It's a trap, really, that a lot of people fall into.
Mm.
What often gets missed is that truly significant, like exponential growth. It rarely happens overnight. Thinking long-term allows you to make strategic sacrifices now
Okay.
that will pay off with much bigger rewards, potentially years down the line. So that old idea of planting trees today whose shade you might not personally enjoy, but future generations will.
Right, building something lasting.
Exactly. That patience, that foresight, it really separates those who build maybe temporary successes from those who create enduring legacies. It allows for potentially bigger risks, deeper investments, because you're not demanding an immediate payoff. And speaking of long-term investments, let's pivot slightly to Habit 38. Build financial literacy. Nigel talks about understanding money not just as a skill, but as a success multiplier.
Hmm.
What's the deeper layer here, beyond just, balancing your checkbook?
Oh, definitely beyond that. For high performers, financial literacy isn't just basic budgeting. It's about understanding the language of capital.
The language of capital.
Okay.
Yeah.
Knowing how money actually works, how to make it work for you, through smart investments, understanding leverage, assessing risk properly. It's about building a financial foundation that, crucially, supports your ambitions. It frees up mental bandwidth.
Right. Less worry.
Exactly. And it gives you options. That freedom allows you to chase opportunities you might otherwise have to pass on because of money constraints. So it becomes this powerful enabler of growth and innovation.
An enabler. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, building that long-term vision, getting financially savvy, that often involves learning from others, right?
Mm.
Which brings us neatly to Habit 43. Seek out mentors.
Mm.
This isn't just finding someone to give you advice, is it? What's the strategic play here?
Absolutely not just advice. The really profound insight with mentorship is that it offers a massive shortcut, a huge acceleration.
Shortcut how?
Well, why spend years trying to reinvent the wheel when someone else has already navigated very similar terrain, similar challenges? Mentors offer that hard-won wisdom, that critical feedback you might not get elsewhere, and often access to a wider network. All of that can literally shave years off your learning curve.
Okay.
And they don't just give you answers. Often the best mentors help you frame your problems differently. They challenge your assumptions, point out blind spots you just can't see on your own. It's often less about getting direct answers and more about learning how to ask better questions yourself.
Learning how to ask better questions.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic distinction. Okay, and finally, as we sort of wrap up this section of the deep dive, let's touch on Habit 52. Define what success means to you. Now, this might sound, well, a bit obvious.
Mm-hmm. Pretty straightforward.
But Nigel puts a huge emphasis on personalizing this definition.
Hmm.
Why is that so vital for people who are truly successful, not just, outwardly achieving?
This one might actually be one of the most critical habits of all. Because think about it. If you're chasing someone else's definition of success, maybe society's definition or your parents' whatever,
Okay.
you can hit every single external benchmark, make all the money, get all the status, and still feel, well, profoundly unfulfilled, empty even.
Yeah, I can see that.
High performers, the ones who seem truly content, they understand that real success is deeply personal. It's multifaceted. It's not just about the money or the job title. It includes things like fulfillment, impact, well-being, relationships.
Oh, yeah.
By getting crystal clear on what success means to them specifically, they create this internal compass. And that compass ensures that their efforts, their energy, are aligned with their deepest values. That leads to sustainable satisfaction, not just those fleeting moments of achievement. It's really about consciously building a life, not just, building a resume.
Building a life, not just a resume.
Right.
Wow, what an insightful journey through just a fraction of these habits from
Yes.
Nigel Cumberland's book. We've really gone beyond just like naming these ideas to understanding the deep strategic thinking behind them for anyone aiming for that sustained high performance.
Indeed. And I think the core message that echoes through all of them really is that exceptional success. It's usually not about one giant leap.
Right.
It's the cumulative effect, the compounding of consistent, intentional, and often very quiet shifts.
Mhm.
Shifts in mindset, shifts in action, day in, day out.
The mall shifts adding up.
Yeah.
So now, the challenge for you listening,
hmm
we really want you to take this from theory to practice. Pick just one habit, just
Yeah.
one that we talked about today, maybe the one that really sparked something in you that resonated the most, and commit to truly integrating it. Try it out. Put it into your routine for the next 7 days, just one habit, 7 days. And then just observe. See how that single consistent action starts to maybe shift your perspective or even your results.
It connects back to what Nigel Cumberland states so powerfully in the book. Your habits today are the foundation of your success tomorrow.
That really is a thought worth sitting with, isn't it? Your habits today are the foundation for tomorrow. So which habit will you choose to explore first? Think about how that one small, consistent action can start laying the groundwork, building that momentum day by day for your future success. We hope you'll join us again soon for more deep dives into the knowledge that helps you thrive.